Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I am going to be talking about my favorite books that I read in 2016. Again, these were not, I don't think in any cases, maybe one published in 2016, but were books that I just enjoyed reading, my favorite reads. I kind of enjoy this time of year. I get to watch other people's videos and that's always fun. And I like looking through the books that I've read over the course of the year and kind of seeing what I really enjoyed. I really enjoy looking to see the books that I gave 5 stars to that I no longer remember reading. Because that's always suspicious that maybe it shouldn't have been a 5-star book. So these are the books that I really remember reading and that I remember the books, I remember the feelings, I remember it all. And so these are the more well-deserving, high-starred books, I guess you could say, of 2016 for me. The first two I'm going to mention were from the library. The first one, And Then There Were None, by Agatha Christie. And I read this, I think it was the second book that I read in 2016, and I still remember it. It's the first Agatha Christie book that I've ever read, and I loved it to pieces. It was so incredibly clever, and now I completely understand where all of these movies like Clue came from, and it's from this book. I take that back, there's 3 books that I got from the library. The second one was Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys, and I was completely blown away by this book. It's historical fiction based on the sinking of and I forget the name of the ship, but it's the largest maritime disaster in the history. And yet it's something that we don't hear about. And I just really enjoy books that are based on these sorts of things, like disasters that we don't talk about. I mean, everyone knows about the Titanic, but not anyone knows about this ship and how much civilian life was lost on it. And I love how she weaved together the stories of all of these people, and the ending just, you know, broke your heart a little bit, and I thought it was beautiful. And the third book that I got from the library was Walk the Edge by Katie McGarry. And this one might be a surprise to some people because, you know, it's technically a motorcycle teenage romance sort of book, but I loved the theme of it. And so much in YA, you see a lack of parental and older figures in their lives. And that was not the case in this book. And this might be a bit spoilery, so skip over if you don't want to know the real reason why I love this book. But the whole point was for him to trust people. And in this book, she, you know, has a photograph taken and put on the internet. And to be honest, as an adult, I'm like, this is not scandalous. You know, it's not like a sex tape. It's not, you're not naked. You're just close to some guy who's in a motorcycle clique and people think that's kind of funny. And yet he is trying to deal with it all by himself. And she's trying to deal with it all by herself. And at the end of the book, they finally realize that they need help dealing with this. And they go and talk to the adults who deal with it. And that is so healthy because teenagers really need to know that they can go and talk to adult figures, whether it's parents, whether it's teachers, to help them with their problems, that we are not alone, that we don't think that you're stupid or anything like that. And I think that it was so wonderful to have that in a book for that age group. It's highly important. So I gave this book 5 stars. I think it might actually be my favorite read of the entire year. And I really was tempted to buy it to put it on my shelf because I thought it was that good. My next favorite reads, and I don't think I picked the right ones off the shelf, but were the Gallagher Girls series. I'm just gonna put it together as a series by Ali Carter, who, if you've watched my channel enough, you know that Ali Carter is one of my favorite young adult writers. And this series was phenomenal. It's about, again, I love a good boarding school story. But in particular, these last 3 and 4 books were a larger story arc that was a little bit deeper and a little bit darker than the first couple books. And I loved it, and I want my daughter to read it next because this is a series that is good for the younger YA range. One of my other favorite books this year was The Outsiders, which I had never read before, by S.E. Hinton, and I just was floored by this because I didn't have very many expectations of it, even though people talk about it all the time. But I really felt things during this book. I couldn't, and it made me realize to not judge people by what we see immediately and make snap judgments of people. So I definitely learned something from this book, and I thought it was a well-deserved 5-star. Another book that I don't remember everything about this book, I'll be completely honest, but I remember whenever I look at it, I remember how much I loved it. In Bitter Chill by Sarah Ward. And this, from what I can remember, is an abduction story where they were both abducted, a girl and her friend, and one is saved and one isn't, and she has like a mental block and doesn't know what happened. She can't remember what happened. She doesn't know what happened. They were little, and now she's an adult, and they crack the case wide open, and things happen, and it was just incredibly paced and like creepy, but like good. It was really, really good and satisfying at the end. There's only 3 more people. We're almost there. So this one, called A Midwife by Jennifer Worth, and I think this is a memoir, so nonfiction, about the ladies who became midwives post-World War II London, in especially the slum areas, and just all these stories. And I am a sucker for midwife stories, and I thought this was fantastic. I still have not watched the series because of course it's also a PBS series. Just because I don't watch TV, so that's why I haven't watched it yet. But I thought this was fantastic and I highly recommend it. Other book that What Milo Saw by Virginia McGregor, and I just loved this book. It's written mostly from Milo, who's a young boy's point of view, and he's losing his vision, and there's just so much going on in this book. And you know, it talks about immigration, and it was delightful and yet a little heartbreaking, and yet he's so well adjusted, and this book was so good, and I recommend it if you like just fiction. It reads very easy, like you could give it to a young adult to read, although there's a few little salty parts in it, so maybe you shouldn't, but so good. And now we're down to the last book, and this might be a surprising one, and when I watched someone else's review, they talked about controversy regarding this one, and so now I feel funny putting it here, but you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. So quotable, and so many times while I was reading this book, I was like, yes, 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 you got that right. And so for that reason, it belongs on this list. I mean, every page, if I had little sticky notes at that point, this thing would be tabbed up with beautiful quotes and things that are so, so true. There were so many things that were so true in this book. And again, I remember reading it. I read it when it came out, and I still remember reading it. So it is on my list of favorite books of 2016. And that is the end of my list of favorite books of 2016. And I read a lot of books. I think I read 169 books this year. And that's what I remember of them. So yay! So everyone keep going with your favorite books because I'm enjoying it. A lot of people did this way early. I'm a little bit neurotic. I can't film stuff about 2016 until it's over, and it's officially finally over. Other people can do that, but I'm like, it's not over yet. What if you read a fantastic book in the last day and then it's not on your list? I can't do that because I'm just a little OCD. But anyway, keep filming them, and I hope you have marvelous reads for this year, and let me know some of your favorite books of this year down below. So I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.